Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about investing in the digital asset space. And let's get right into it today. One take and uncut. None of this is financial advice. Please do your own research, question everything I'm sharing with you, and I believe you'll connect the dots and understand and see the same thing that I am. So without further ado, to kick things off with tons of news that has not been previously discussed, I just want to talk about this really quick. This is the Brave browser. I use it over, Safari, Chrome, etc. It is basically embracing and utilizing cryptocurrency. You can get paid in cryptocurrency as well. Awesome. You can block ads, have a little bit better privacy. And what I wanted to show you is now they even have integrations that we've shown in the past of Binance. So you can buy crypto directly, whether it's Binance.com or Binance.us. Again, Binance and Brave browser links are in the description. And say you wanted to buy $100, USD for, let's say, XRP, Ethereum, doesn't matter. You can go in, click Ethereum, hit buy some ETH, and then you can actually see right here. You get the conversions, you can pay via ACH, etc. And again, the price will refresh in a minute. And the awesome thing about Binance US, included with other exchanges such as Kraken, is now there's an over-the-counter portal. So you can pay, especially with, instead of being forced to pay $100,000 buy orders for over-the-counter orders, now they're actually financial inclusion. They're allowing people to do this with orders at like a 10K threshold, which is phenomenal. So if your Ethereum, your XRP, your Bitcoin, your any, altcoin explodes before other cryptos and you have 50K profit, you wanted to pay your taxes and then reinvest. What's awesome is you can buy OTC and actually have some privacy. Of course, there will be a minimal spread fee. But again, it's a great way to do without being stuck to do a massive limit order or a massive market order, paying heavy fees in terms of slippage. This is just one thing that, I'm honestly looking at along with Kraken or any other exchange. And hopefully this will get Coinbase's attention and allow people with, lower thresholds, maybe 10K, 5K to do some over-the-counter trades. All right. So again, this is kind of another marketplace and you can find buyers and sellers and match them accordingly. All right. So again, you can select the coin, etc. Okay, so now this is a really, really interesting thing. We've talked about this in the past, but I wanted to retouch on this again. So we know BlackRock, they are one of the biggest asset management funds, management groups in the world, roughly $7 trillion AUM, assets under management. Now pay close attention. Mickey B. Fresh sharing this with us again, so thank you, sir. BlackRock, head of blockchain and digital wealth, talks about tokenization now. So it's not just digitization, guys. This is validating everything. And yes, open source cryptocurrencies will play a huge, massive role in this entire ecosystem. This is the point of DLT itself, is distributed frameworks. So again, we've shown this podcast in the past. Robbie Mitchnick, believe it or not, of course, was head for Ripple. As we can see here, just happens to be former Ripple head of product development. Yeah, guys, I'm sure just another coincidence. And we're going to talk about the Faster Payments Task Force as well, the Federal Reserve. So pay close attention. All right. So again, he co-authored that XRP valuation paper with Susan Athey in 2018, talking about the dominance for the cross-border payment industry. Talking about XRP valuation according to that, whether $6, $32 per XRP by this time frame, and this dominance and multiplier effect, etc. You understand where this is going. All right, so now just to breeze through this, if you guys want to listen to this on your own time, this little podcast, what's next for blockchain on BlackRock's website, you can see nearly 1 in 6 people worldwide don't have the physical documentation they need to access healthcare, housing, or to vote. So digitization, if you guys are questioning that we are moving and migrating towards a more digital world each and every day, click another video. I don't know what to tell you. It is literally just falling down like dominoes. It's clearly happening. And for me, I, as a contrarian investor, of course, going against kind of technologies that people may not necessarily believe in, I think it's really evident and obvious. So I'm kind of looking to profit and capitalize off of these trends in society, just like the dot-com bubble, just like the real estate booms, just like metals. You can see all of these markets, VR, AR, remote work. I mean, just imagine when a surgeon is using virtual reality tech or kind of VR tech and operating from his own home on somebody. Wouldn't that be absolutely amazing with ML, machine learning, but I digress. I'll stick to DLT and crypto. So again, guys, we're going to be tying this together with XRP before my scatterbrained self starts talking about everything. So again, Robbie Mitchnick on this episode on the BID, BlackRock's blockchain lead, all right? Former head of Ripple. And what was it? Product development, right? All right in front of you. So now, just to go through a few screenshots of this actual transcript, we can see, Mary Catherine later, you worked at Ripple, crypto asset called XRP. So what brought you to BlackRock? Just talking about his experience as well. And he goes, exactly. So it's like, of course, and again, this is for digitization and then tokenization using crypto assets, guys. So in BlackRock, obviously blockchain lead, you need a token to transfer said value. They are an asset manager. So there's really no question that crypto will play a role here. And of course, they can have their own permission blockchains. That's probably going to be a thing. But to interoperate on the backbone layer of the payment stack, it has to be open sourced. And my bet is that XRP will play a fundamental role in this new migration towards this financial ecosystem. It's not going to do everything. I'm just betting big that it will have a role in solving the payments problem in bridging assets, okay? So again, of course, payments, KYC, and know your customer, compliance, trade finance, derivatives, which is just a massive market, proxy voting, bank loans. We've talked about syndicated lending as well, securitized lending now, repo, and then beyond that, there's this whole emerging trend of tokenizing financial assets and other real-world assets on a blockchain. So all of those will be very much interesting to watch. All right. I mean, if we're digitizing everything else, it's just a matter of time, right? So again, right here, we're sourcing a couple of key blockchain projects that could become a utility for the whole industry. Okay, and how, if at all, is tokenization different from digitization? I love what Robbie says here. Well, I think you can have digitization without tokenization, but you cannot have tokenization without digitization. So in many ways, tokenization is a great catalyst for the digitization of financial services, even though it's not strictly a requirement. But again, if you want that next level of operational efficiency, it is. Okay, so now we're going to keep going. Now, right here, we have an HSBC executive, again, RippleNet partner, one of the big banks that are systemically important, too big to fail. No surprise, talking about tokenization. So it's not just digitization. They've, been working on this. I mean, even, world governments and U.S. government have been working on digital, central bank currencies for quite some time. But utilizing cryptography, it's a little more recent, okay? They've been talking about going digital for decades, right around when the internet was around. So some very interesting projects are about to be launched soon, bringing together a large group of custodians and banks. So pay close attention to this.
I do think we need to find some of the problems we need to solve, and that is where we start to use the tokenization element. And I firmly believe in the illiquid asset space. We are doing work in HSBC around that because that is going to create trading opportunities and open up liquidity in the market, which doesn't currently exist. I think the challenge that we have.
And again, guys, liquidity is key. That is the catch-all term we use here. And essentially, when more and more things are tokenized, guess what? This is going to bring better liquidity for these existing illiquid assets.
Is getting a pool of whether it's large banks, custodian banks, or asset managers that come together to actually create some momentum around this. There are a lot of industries.
I love that she chose the word a pool, kind of like a pool of liquidity. Very, very interesting. Just things that make you go, if you've been watching this channel for over a year.
Working groups in the market at the moment that HSBC and other large custodians are part of with respect to this whole process. And there are actually some quite exciting things that are going to be launched soon, I think, whether it's linked to the exchanges or some independent consortium work, trying to solve things like,
Okay, so pay close attention to that. Now next, we can see this new standard. This is the P2140.4. And again, Mickey B. Fresh, super technical. Always appreciate his insight. And we can see distributed decentralized exchange. Again, the XRP ledger itself, again, even has a capability of one of the few DLT technologies that have its own built-in inherent DEX on its ecosystem. We can see the standard and extension framework, smart contract mechanism, which will be huge. This standard also defines a series of extensible interfaces for the exchange scenario, support of third-party financial derivatives using tokens. Keep in mind, the XRP ledger, we have full-time engineers thanks to the Logos network acquisition that are building DeFi products in the derivatives market. You cannot say that with many other crypto assets. Of course, Ethereum and a few of the other massive ones, but I'm just saying, look at where they're building, okay? Again, overall impact of different levels of implementation. We're talking about post-trade, okay? Post-trade settlement, landscape, securities, etc. Pay attention to that, and we're going to tie it into some news that has already occurred. And this is on the European Central Bank's website. We can already tie it to Christine Lagarde, again, former International Monetary Fund director, and now she's the president of the ECB. Right here, distributed ledger. They've been working on this ecosystem for quite some time. We can see clearing. We can see settlement agent. things that make you go, okay. They've been exploring this for quite some time, who are using cryptocurrencies. Again, this is Luke Scully, former head of PwC Blockchain Initiative, CEO of Custody Digital, okay, and then also Flare Network partner. And we've seen Flare talking about, with all the news with Flare Network. We'll talk about it. We've talked about it recently, like last week with that other news with XRP. But again, it was like 85%. It was a massive, massive bullish number of utility, okay? Now, I'm going to kind of speed through this. Again, CDPs we'll talk about in the future. Again, collateralized debt positions, absolutely massive opportunity for financial products and services. Highly recommend this. Again, Mickey B. Fresh sent this over to me. I was reading through it, but I feel like I'll just talk about this in another video before I lose you, because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this. Okay, so we know XRP Crypto Wolf. We'll breeze through this. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau mentioned Ripple and XRP in their new report, Remittance Transfers under the Electronic Fund Transfer Act. Said, of course, their product can allow banks and credit unions to know the exact final amount of remittance transfers. Of course, that is, obviously, an upgrade from today's existing financial landscape. Okay, next up. We can see this. South Korea's fintech regulatory sandbox created 380 new blockchain jobs and generated around $110 million in investments. The FSC is expected to hold committee meetings focused on different sectors like banks, insurance, and credit. So we can see the demand is there, growth is there. And yeah, you're in an asset class that has been, widely suppressed, just like metals for now. Trickle, 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 flood, just like State Street's dead. It is going to be just these long bear markets until explosion. The only people that will capitalize in these markets are the ones that understand the technology. Why I show news on this channel and connecting these dots is to show you where it's all going. There's no doubt for all of you that go, oh, I'm down, 80%, or I've been holding for 2 years. Okay. Why did you come in this space for the first point? What was your initial goal? Are you remembering that? Are you doing your own research? Are you seeing bad news? Are you seeing, people not building around this technology? If that were the case, yeah, I'd get out. But I'm seeing the exact opposite. I'm seeing the most bullish sentiment ever. Okay, so we get that. Just reading a little bit about that again. All right, now look at this. XRP settlements are coming to Japanese ATMs as well, shared by High Technological, so thank you. And no surprise, of course, we know Ripple partner and investor SBI Holdings. Keep in mind, SBI, huge shareholder of not only Ripple, but R3. They're not conservative. This board in Japan will take over. Okay, announced plans to integrate Ripple-powered settlements across ATMs in Japan. The news was revealed in SBI's latest financial report, you can link here as well, announcing using a plan to integrate Ripple-powered settlement platform, MoneyTap, we've talked about them, with ATMs run by various banks across Japan. The integration is intended to provide consumers with easier access to funds at ATMs, regardless of their banking affiliation. Again, financial inclusion and interoperability between groups. SBI to integrate Ripple Tech across Japanese ATMs. You can see MoneyTap, the app, will allow banks to reduce costs incurred through operating at ATMs. And here's a quote. Currently, each bank has an ATM with its own bank app. Again, lack of interoperability, but with a common web application, the same ATM may be used as its jointly operated multi-bank ATM. All right, next up. All right, really cool. Just wanted to kind of emphasize this before we get into some really bullish information. So Tony XRP here. This is Tony_XRPZ. People, we're talking about Visa, guys. Again, Visa's partnered with RippleNet's partner Earthport, massive behemoth. Visa is consumer payments, okay? They're moving to DLT, may or may not use Ripple with Earthport. But, and people are afraid every time a group talks about tokenization, that's validation. Why are you guys think that everything's a Ripple killer or XRP killer or Ethereum killer? It's just comical to me how much FUD there is in the marketplace and how everyone just kind of scatters yelling. But it has zero effect on bank-to-bank correspondent transfers. Again, the correspondent banking network is XRP's original and main focus right now. So why are we talking when everyone else is building currencies, which is good because they still need an intermediary. They need a bridge asset that is going to be the most liquid, which is a good thing for XRP. Okay? You just don't understand. We're talking about the correspondent banking network. We want other groups to go digital, and we want tokenization to become a thing to create higher liquidity in this new asset class that is going to be here to stay without question. All right? So again, which is a huge market. Ripple is clearly entrenched. We've gone over the connections, hundreds of banks. Indirectly, we're talking thousands of partners already, basically connected entirely globally, and they're just kind of waiting for that excuse now. And understand, today's landscape's been one of the weirdest years of my life. A global pandemic, types of quarantine, stay-at-home mandates, geopolitical tensions, oil going negative, a bunch of trouble in the Middle East, BRICS, these nations straying away from the US dollar reserve status, high unemployment rates. If you guys really think that it's too crazy to understand what is happening here, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, even right here, I'm making a reference that we've talked about, Ariba Network, Goldman Sachs, Visa, and SAP. Remember, SAP is RippleNet enabled. They've already helped as kind of that technology provider amongst other groups. Of course, Accenture's the original investor in Ripple, but SAP's helped with Ripple, with ATB and Reese Bank. Do you really think that hundreds of these banks, the top 50 banks in the world, are just, testing and running proof of concepts for XRP for fun? No. Okay? We have right here, Pat, right here on Ripple, is one of the few technology providers on the U.S. Payments Council, the Faster Payments Council, FPC. I just don't know what to tell you. You guys really think that, this is all just kind of a coincidence? It's not. Okay, so right here. So again, John Wick sharing this. Volante Tech, and again, Volante is already integrated with Ripple, no surprise, has officially joined the U.S. Faster Payments Council. Volante also, guess what? We've talked about them along with Accenture, not Accenture, ACI Worldwide, and what's the other group? Finastra, another RippleNet partner, massive behemoth. We'll talk about them in 1 minute. They are also they are actually technology providers for the clearinghouse's real-time payment platform, and that actual payment ecosystem is RippleNet enabled. Now, will they use XRP domestically? I'm not arguing about that. I'm talking about the international use case. Remember, step 1, step 2, messaging and reconciliation, improve domestic use cases. Step 1, step 2, settlements. Step 2, international cross-border payments. That is the way I see it. You want interconnectivity, integration. So we can see Volante Tech, membership organization devoted to advancing faster payments in the U.S., is a member of the council. This great video by XRP Yo-Yo talking about this as well, showing XRP the standard. So again, $2 trillion market. We understand the use cases, open banking, new competitors. We can see blockchain, the ISO migrations, crypto, real-time payments, RTP, cross-border payments. It's all been this push for quite some time. We understand what is happening. And now Volpay itself, as we can click right here to respect your time, we understand they have a Ripple processor module, speeds integration with Ripple global settlements, okay? This is all about settlements with finality. Ripple right here, back in the day. It's just been here for years, and nobody's talking about it because you read a few articles when Bitcoin is at 20K that XRP is a scam and it's centralized. They have a completely different model than Bitcoin. It's a top-down approach, similar to how the internet led to mass adoption, starting off with institutions, universities, and governments, and then making its way to retailers. Bitcoin tried doing the exact opposite, starting off extremely decentralized, then scattering it around, and eventually only the wealthiest, most successful mining pools became and started getting better rewards in Bitcoin and were incentivized. And now with the Bitcoin reward and the halving, only the strongest, wealthiest survive. So Bitcoin starts off decentralized, becomes more centralized over time. And of course, the transaction fees, it'll never solve the payments issue. Is it a store of value? Will it become, the global store of value? Maybe. I don't know. But what I'm saying is XRP is going to solve the payments problem. Like, surely we saw $50 million payments with, pennies for fees. That is a no-brainer, okay, for cross-currency settlements. Come on. So we understand XRP maybe starts off in terms of holdings, extremely centralized, and that is one of the things that kind of scares people away. Was it made like that by design? I don't know, but as we can see, not only the validators, but the holdings are becoming more and more dispersed. Ripple said, yeah, we want XRP's price as high as possible, but we need to disperse this strategy. It has to have, be dispersed as widely as possible to create liquidity in this ecosystem, incentivize trading into true marketplace. So they actually have a long-term vision. It's not just something overnight. And guess what? It has been years, and we are approaching that point, and we are now obviously closer than ever. Okay? Think critically, please. Just don't, watch one video or YouTube video or see an article and lose all your, confidence with an investment. So foolish. Okay. We have, there's hundreds of people. And like I made a tweet the other day before I continue to tie all this together. I said, oh no, another person called XRP a scam. And some people are, completely sarcastic on Twitter and YouTube, by the way. And people always ask me, what do I think about this? What do I think about that? I've addressed all of it. Like with many other people, myself and many others have made, several hundred YouTube videos. Some have made great blogs addressing all of this to counter the nonsense FUD that pervades this ecosystem. And for some reason, it still continues, right? And I don't really waste my time answering DMs, answering emails, answering questions one at a time. And I mean, I respect and appreciate all the support, but I'm only one man. This is why I make videos, okay? To try to address all of this to everybody that's listening, right? I'm not going to answer all these questions that you can find out with a simple Google search. Nobody held my hand. It taught me to do my own research and take responsibility for my own decisions. And I think that's the best thing that we can all do and learn. Okay, so we have the U.S. Faster Payments Council, right? We know, Pat here, Ripple member, is one of the few technology providers. We have 3 technology providers here, or 4, for the entire Faster Payments Council. I'm sure it's just another coincidence. Wonder why Ripple is included. Are they just a consultant for, DLT technology? Well, let's kind of talk a little bit more about that. So we know Volante, we've talked about them. We don't need to go into depth. We've had multiple videos about them. You can search my channel for that. And now I want to talk about the DTCC. So look at this. And people said it didn't happen. And look what happened. We talked about this months ago as well. The DTCC, again, this is over $1 quadrillion in settlements. I said, this would be amazing if XRP had a chance to get a portion of this market. It looks like they're going to have a portion of this market in due time, of course. So the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation is going to experiment with digitalization. We said they've already said they're going to experiment with DLT. And again, distributed ledger technology, consensus based. This is XRP ledger itself, and asset tokenization. So if you guys said, oh, they're only using blockchain or, the subset, or they're only going to use DLT, it doesn't have anything to do with crypto assets. Well, asset tokenization is cryptocurrency. Okay. It can be permissioned and permissionless for post-trade settlements. Okay. So now they're looking for something that's highly scalable, secure. You get the gist. Cost effective. This is XRP. In the public and private markets, we've talked about this, bridging public and private, databases and, markets and institutions, etc. Okay, now we can see here on FinExtra that they shared with this. So it clearly says, and they've been talking about showing interest in asset tokenization for post-trade settlement, keyword settlements. Okay, and I'm sure they can have their own smart contract platforms as well. We'll see what they use. But now Project Ion is an extension of their ongoing efforts to modernize its core clearing and settlement processes. We had a gentleman, and wait until I show you a few connections of people connected directly to Ripple with the DTCC. And I'm sure that's just another coincidence. All right, now we understand, talking about these settlement processes. We've heard the gentleman at the DTCC saying it's really embarrassing that we can send a, package to another country faster than we can settle payments over this network. This was built 40 years ago, and it's time to update. I mean, we've already, we're well into the internet era, and they haven't updated how to transfer value between countries and ecosystems. Pretty embarrassing. All right. Head of clearing. You can kind of speed through this. And again, I'm just going to read this little paragraph right here, and then we're going to keep going. So Project Ion is about working with the industry to further the value proposition on accelerated settlement, leveraging new capabilities such as DLT and tokenized securities, and learn how DTCC can best deploy these technologies to deliver additional value to clients and the industry. Okay, and again, the potential for asset tokenization, digital infrastructure to support private market securities. Okay, building from the ground up, etc. Now, pay attention here. I've shared this thread a while ago. I had a whole dedicated video on this. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm going to breeze through this really quick. So we know Finastra, of course, for the RTP, clearinghouse system. The clearinghouse is also on the Faster Payments Council. No surprise, you really think that they don't, Faster Payments Council, those members don't talk to each other. Come on now. So Finastra, RippleNet partner, already, when you're a RippleNet partner, it's all software, you're connected automatically. So Finastra, 9,000 customers, 130 countries, 48 of the top 50 banks in the world. Notice that they do have their payment service, their global payment services platform, It is called Global Pay Plus. We have all of the links in this thread. Okay, I've shared this many times, and this is all research done by the people in the community, right? Now, they've integrated with Ripple. So Pay Plus is integrated with Ripple's DLT, is the foundation, not just part of it, the foundation for disruptive payment innovation. Okay, now we can see here, of course, this is earlier on, again, King Solomon sharing, 63% of banks, collaboration with fintechs, financial technology firms, cough, cough, Ripple, and DLT and APIs. We're going to talk about APIs and the connections again as well in the future. We can see Finastra's Pay Plus, leading solution used by CLS, continuous link settlement. This is trillions of dollars, guys, per day. We understand, the Forex market, what, 5 trillion, 5.1, maybe with inflation even more, dollars per day. Okay, this is over $1.25 quadrillion per year that is settled inefficiently, high cost, intermediaries, based on trust. I can go on forever about this. So CLS transacts over 50% of FX settlement volume, okay? All right, well, what does this have to do with Ripple? Well, the cool thing was that CLS actually already is enabled with, guess what? Pay Plus. And Pay Plus, the foundation of that technology, RippleNet. Wow. Okay, now the DTCC, the people that say, oh, the DTCC will never use XRP, we can't rule it out. That's all I'm saying, okay? So the DTCC, with the help of Accenture, aka one of the first investors for the company Ripple, digital asset, and R3 also owns a bunch of XRP, specifically said regarding DLT, they will be using CLS for settlement. Wow. And the DTCC working on so many other intra-networks, DLT initiatives, unrelated, or I said, obviously they're working on other things unrelated to XRP and settlement specifically. Don't worry about those. The focus is on CLS right now because it's RippleNet enabled. They said for, actual settlement, they're going to be using CLS. So it's RippleNet enabled. Guess what, guys? Right here, DTC, former CEO, is a Ripple advisor. All the links right here, guys. And I've shown this thread on the channel, etc. Donahue. Check this out and keep doing your own research. We understand State Street, one of the big custodians, BlackRock, etc. They're connected with Finastra and Temenos, both RippleNet enabled. $30 trillion that they're holding, 10% of the world's assets. Even the FIS was a contender with a bid for this to be, partners with them as their tech provider. And FIS, RippleNet partner, just never ends. And this, gentleman, Jay Biancamano, sorry if I butchered that last name, he said this digital asset, this cryptocurrency flood that is going to happen. He said this verbatim. He said it's going to trickle, then flood. So he believes it will simply be one massive, short, intense bull run. Pay attention to the 90s. Remember, there was 2 years of suppression and people completely lost faith. Like random, retail investors like you and me, we didn't have the internet to reassure each other and show this information. The news controlled everything. They lost faith. They sold their assets. They said, oh no, well, we've held for 2-3 years. It's a done deal. Guess we're not in the right thing. And then guess what? Boom. As soon as they gave up, that's how it works. All right. So again, how many institutionally backed fintechs, Ripple, or consortiums R3 do you know that utilize distributed ledger technology? Specifically, the first DLT network that was built outside of Bitcoin was the XRP ledger. Things that make you go, Ripple, one of the first companies, why did they initially start already meeting with the Federal Reserve? That's kind of weird. Why would they start meeting with the governments? Are they really just some random company that was successful? Or is there more to this that we are missing? Do your own research and understand this, okay? Digital asset transfers value over the DLT networks, of course. And of course, you need a finite supply to prevent spam. It can prevent people from making fake identities. There's all kinds of benefits, no question about it. And a very liquid asset offers this, greater benefits than the current payment rails. Okay, we're talking about stablecoins. Permission tokens do not solve the problem of trust and interoperability between these various payment silos. Just like, notice I use the word silos, they use that for Volante in that video. Okay, XRP Yo-Yo shared. Eventually, these walled gardens, these closed ecosystems or intra-networks, maybe JPM Coin, working together with a consortium of banks, or R3. And all these banks, they're not all going to, go on the same ecosystem. They all have competition. So eventually, they still have to interact between themselves and trade and settle, correct? Hence, a bridge is needed somewhere. So, although, and I said this in April, although the DTCC, of course, over $250 billion in settlement per year, most likely will use their own in-house token permission network for privacy. We get it. Some of that value will still have to run over CLS for foreign exchange settlements. Hence, Finastra's Ripple integrated platform PayPlus is used by CLS when settling foreign exchange transactions, right? Things that make you go, Do you see where I'm going with this? Hopefully there's a method to the madness that you guys are putting together. Again, I just recommend you pause the screen, do your own research, and question all of this. So we tied together State Street. We tied together BlackRock. We talked about the DTCC. Former CEO of DTCC, who has some pull, is a Ripple advisor. What? And you guys are still doubting this. We understand that even Standard Custody and PolySign, what company is called Standard Custody for digital assets? And Arthur Brito, David Schwartz, all connected to Ripple and the XRP ledger years ago. David Schwartz decades ago with some other technology and other things with, Ryan Fugger, Open Coin Initiative, all of this, guys. It is all right in front of you. Pay attention. Just question everything. This is a long rant. I have so much more information to cover in future videos. I'm sorry if this was dragged out, but I need to get this information out there before a bull run, just so you guys can understand how serious this could potentially be. All right. So again, I appreciate all of you that watch this video. Stick around. I appreciate everyone that likes this video, shares it around. Remember, we do have links in the description, whether it's, for a Binance account, whether it's to, use the Brave browser and test it out. This is all free. And hopefully it, adds value to you guys, and hopefully also encourages people to support the ecosystem before it is big. For me, not financial advice. I fully and wholeheartedly expect to walk away with generational wealth for me, my family, and friends, etc. So with that, guys, I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.